see. Okay. All right. So, hi, Dr. Maloney. Today I have Miss Suarez with me. She is a educator. And so let's just start off with an introduction. Like, why don't you introduce yourself and say how long you've been teaching?
Okay, so my name is Michelle Suarez. I taught for 5 years about 25 years ago, and now I'm back into teaching as a substitute and possibly looking to then take on a role as a teacher again.
Nice. What grade are you thinking of teaching?
Probably second, that's my absolute favorite.
Mm,
I love second grade because they're still so young and they're sweet as pie,
uh-huh.
young, and but they're so willing to learn. I just have a heart for second grade.
Yeah, that is a cute age group.
Hmm.
So, where and whom did you receive your credentials from?
Okay, so I went to San Francisco State and got my bachelor's there. Then I headed over or down to Southern California at Cal State Northridge, CSUN,
Mhm.
and that's where I received my teaching credential.
Oh, nice.
Hmm.
How was your process like? Like, did you have to intern? Was there a certain amount of teaching hours that you had to accomplish? Just like walk me through like your earning of your credential.
Okay, so it was a long time ago, like I said, but
Yeah.
I went. I believe it took me I believe a year
Okay.
for the teaching credential at that time, and then I had to do a stint for I believe it was 6 to 8 weeks in lower, so K through I believe it was second grade. So I took on a kindergarten position, which I student taught. And then I was able to do a fourth grade position for, like I said, I think it was about 8 weeks.
Okay. I
Mhm.
see. And what made you want to become a teacher? Was there anything that stuck out to you? Was it the change of mind, or was it kind of like you always knew that you wanted to be in the education realm?
Right. So probably what the latter, which is I've always wanted to teach. And so started off at a very young age babysitting. And then I was a camp counselor, like a YMCA type
Mhm.
of, I think it was, I did that for 2 summers, probably about 6 weeks with kids. Just we went to Disneyland,
Mhm.
swimming, the beach, um, those kind of activities. And I then at San Francisco State was with the preschool. I did that for about 1 year and to get my feet wet. And then I just thought that this is where I would like to be with students.
Oh, that's nice. Was
Mhm.
there like a specific like event that happened that was that was really heartwarming that like stuck with you in a way? Like, was there like a specific memory?
Um, well, okay, so I you're talking about teaching, correct?
Right.
Okay, so in Bakersfield, um, where I did my teaching, the very first time I taught, I was with a group of students, and Jalisco, Mexico, is where a lot of the families originated from, and so learning English was really important.
Mm,
I did have students who basically only spoke Spanish. There was probably two or three that were Spanish only. So it was sometimes difficult,
yeah.
but super rewarding when I realized that I was making an impact on their life and that I could teach them in English and just using lots of cues and uh, trying to use as much as I possibly could with art,
Mm,
examples, lots of demonstration, repetition. Um, so that was something that probably stuck out to me the most.
okay, I see. Like, yeah, I can see how that's rewarding. Do you speak Spanish? Are you fluent in Spanish?
No, No, so
No?
my husband, yeah, so my husband Pablo is, and that's where he spoke only Spanish until he went to kindergarten. Then when he entered kindergarten, that's where he learned English. So it
Mm.
does work. And he is fluent in both languages. I am not, however. I do know a lot of words and listening. I really try to listen and I can figure things out pretty well when it comes to someone speaking Spanish.
Mm.
But for me to speak Spanish fluently, no.
Yeah, I see. Um, so I know you kind of briefly went over like the first school that you taught off. Can you explain that more in depth? Like, where was the first school you taught and how was like the hiring process for you?
Okay, so the first it was Lost Hills, which is north of Bakersfield, probably about 50 minutes. Um, and uh I taught there. So I taught trying to think fifth grade through eighth grade language arts. Then after that year, I moved into a second grade position and I taught there at that school for 2 more years. Then I moved into town and I taught another year there in second grade. Then they pulled me because they needed my help in a fifth grade classroom.
Mm.
Wasn't quite working out with the teacher in there. And so they gave me a shot and it worked out well. I was disappointed though that I left second grade.
Mm-hmm.
But then the next year I was able to move back into second grade. So that worked out well. As far as the hiring process, um, there were two different times that I interviewed. The first one was just with the principal, Dr. Day, and that was in Lost Hills, and it was just one-on-one. And I brought in a portfolio and just physical things that I had created,
Mm.
art projects, things that students could do in their free time um, to self-teach. And then the second time when I moved into Bakersfield, that was more like a board meeting in a sense. So it was uh, the superintendent, a principal, possibly two,
Oh, wow.
and a teacher and a board member, maybe two board members. So from what I remember, there's 5 to 7 people in that meeting, which was a little unnerving at the time, but
Yeah,
I hit it. I got the job, so
good.
super great.
Yeah. Was that just for the teaching position?
Yes,
Oh, wow. That's having a superintendent there is kind of crazy.
it was. It
Yeah.
was. But I think the fact that I had taught before previously did
Okay.
help.
Uh-huh. I see. Um, so did you ever teach while you were raising Olivia and like Jack and your
Okay,
kids?
so I was pregnant with my oldest the very last year of second grade in Bakersfield.
Mm-hmm.
And then so I started off the year in August. And then in January, he was born. So
Mm-hmm.
I took maternity leave, and I can't quite remember how many weeks, but I did take the full, I'll just say 10 weeks,
Uh-huh.
and then back to teaching. And then we were going to be doing something different with Pablo and his work. And so because of that, it was a little tricky for him to help with watching Justin. So we
Mm-hmm.
made a decision together that I was going to leave teaching and raise Justin and help with the new business. So
Okay.
that's what we did. And then as far as Jack, Olivia, and Kyle, I never taught, never went back to teaching,
Um,
continued to help in the business aspect of our own small business.
Uh-huh.
I was able to help out in the classroom with each kid at least once a week. I made the effort to be in their classroom. But
Oh,
as far as teaching after that, no.
okay. I see.
Mhm.
Okay, and so my next question I have for you is, after finishing your first year of teaching, do you think that your experience impacted you positively or negatively, and why?
Okay, so I would say positively because I continued to teach and I wanted to be a better teacher. So
Mm-hmm.
you teach, it's kind of crazy. You
Yeah.
feel like, I guess it would be as people call it now, imposter syndrome, where I can't believe I'm doing this. I don't know what I'm doing. Am I doing it correctly? You ask questions
Right.
and lots of questions. You make mistakes. You just try to be as organized as possible, which luckily I am an organized person. But overall, it was positive because I was asked to stay on as well. And I just knew I could do better. And I got better as I continued to teach yearly.
Okay. Is that one thing you wish, what is one thing that you wish you knew before teaching?
How hard it was.
Yeah.
I didn't realize, and I don't know if you can really tell someone how difficult it is.
Mhm.
But and for me, I would put a lot of time into what I did. So it wasn't just, you came in at, let's just say 7:30 and you could leave at 3:30.
Right.
I was there for a very long time, but it's because I cared so much and I wanted to make the best environment for the kids possible. So it was a lot of time put in, especially that first year, the first couple of years.
Yeah. Right. So knowing that you fully immersed yourself in your job, what did your schedule really look like? So what time did you like arrive at school and what time did you end up leaving the school?
Okay, so probably around 7:30, I would arrive, maybe a little bit early or than that, but we'll call it 7:30, and I probably wouldn't leave till about 5.
Oh, wow. It's a long
Mhm.
day.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and then you bring work home too as well, depending on what grade you're teaching. So, for example, the first year with language arts, you are doing correcting of papers and such, and then report cards take a very long time um, to do as well.
I see.
Mhm.
All right. Let's look at another question. Have you ever felt burnt out? If so, why?
Um, because I only taught for 5 years, I would say I never felt burnt out about teaching, but you do have moments where you do kind of get tired, but having vacations in between teaching really helped for me.
Right.
For Thanksgiving, Christmas, spring break. Right before spring break, you do get a little bit tired.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Summer. So for me, I never felt burnt out.
Okay. And as for like your breaks and such, did you ever give like your students work for over the break? Or did you like
Um,
take homework for yourself during break?
I would never give kids homework over spring break. I just let them just enjoy their
Right.
time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And did you ever bring work like during your break, like during your spring break or winter break?
Oh, I'm
Like,
sure. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
I see. Would you try and use your weekends to like get away from your job or like your certain breaks that you're off your job? Would you try and isolate your job from your personal life?
Yeah. Well, for me, I would, if I needed to do some work, I would try to do it in the very beginning of the break. So, for example, bring something home Friday night, really try to work on it rather than on Sunday night. That way I could enjoy the rest of the weekend
Mm-hmm.
or a break. I would do that work if I needed to um, during the very beginning of the break. That way I could just relax for the rest of
Yeah,
the vacation or break.
see. Um, I'm gonna switch the topic.
Sure.
Uh, this is a fun little question I have. What is like the best lunch you can take as a teacher?
Hmm. Best lunch I could take as a teacher.
Like, what is the most easiest thing to prepare yet the most
Peanut butter jelly.
a peanut butter jelly sandwich
Yeah.
is your go-to? I
Yeah,
see
absolutely.
I see a bunch of my like teachers with the salads and they just like toss it, like in the little containers. I always
Yes.
see that happen.
Yeah.
Um, all right. And what is like some advice you can give for me and other future educators that have been wanting to become a teacher?
Know that you can do it. And if it is a little difficult, always ask for help, ask for advice, but go with your gut. And know that there's a lot of support out there. They have mentor teachers that can help, and just know that you are capable and that you've been trained, that you have a love for maybe for kids, for teaching. And I think that's about it.
Okay, thank you. And last question.
Mhm.
What is your best trick of the trade? Like, is there like a little life hack that you have learned from teaching and some little simple hack that I could possibly use in the future?
Okay, so for example, just something that I'm doing right now is I bring with me certain books for the kids, and depending on the age, so I bring Curious George with me. And then I actually have a little stuffed animal, Curious George, that my older son Justin let me borrow. So I will, and kids love to hear be read to. And
Mm-hmm.
so I use that as a little reward. I will even ask them, would you like to hear something on like the television now or the screen, or do you want me to read to you? And they always say, we want you to read.
Oh,
And I make points of having kids come up, help me turn pages. I pass Curious George around and, tell them be respectful of
okay.
George.
Yeah.
But I try to involve them the most I can. And other times I really try also to learn kids' names as
Mm,
best I can right away. And so I'll insert their name into a story and they just love it.
love it. Right.
So that's just a little thing that I do, that reading to them,
Mm-hmm.
they just really enjoy it.
That's so smart. Instead of like, turning on our technology and like just letting this
Right.
in their face, you're really reading to them and making sure that they're actually learning rather than just listening and entertaining themselves.
Yes, and I will stop, of course, and I will ask questions. I use my tone, my voice, to get
Mm-hmm.
excited with exclamation point, or if something's curious, which Curious George always is, I'll just make a silly face and just like,
Mm-hmm.
that's very curious. I wonder what's going to happen next. So just prompting,
Yeah.
but reading to them, they love it.
Okay, perfect. Well, that concludes my interview. Thank you so much for taking the
You're
time
welcome.
out and helping
Absolutely.
me. Um,
Absolutely. If there's anything else, just go ahead and give me a call anytime.
all right, I will. Thank you so much, Miss Suarez.
Yes, you're welcome. Have a great day.